You learned the shape of silence before you knew the words to break it. It was not just the absence of sound. It was a presence, a thick insulating layer between you and the chaos of the world. It was the careful curation of your own volume, the meticulous editing of your thoughts before they could become words, the conscious decision to fold your energy inwards, to make yourself smaller, quieter, safer. You became an expert in the architecture of observation. You learned to read the microshifts in a room's atmosphere, the slight tightening around a mouth that meant impatience, the flicker in the eyes that signaled judgment. Your silence was not empty. It was a fortress you built stone by stone, to protect something you felt was too fragile, too intense, or too much for the world to handle. And here is the dark truth we must acknowledge. From the very start, the very silence that once saved you has become the cage that now confines you. The vigilance that kept you safe has metastasized into a loneliness so profound it feels ontological. A loneliness that persists even especially when you are surrounded by people. You are present but unseen. You are there but unheard. Your greatest act of self-preservation became the foundation of your deepest suffering. This video is for those who speak in whispers, who think in symphonies but live in silence. This is about why the quietest people, the observers, the gentle souls, carry a specific profound kind of pain. And it is about understanding that your silence was never a flaw. It was a survival strategy. And now it is time to understand the cost. So, who are we talking about? We are not merely discussing introversion, a preference for low stimulation. We are excavating the psychology of chronic emotional suppression, born from a foundational wound. The learned belief that your authentic self is not welcome, is too volatile, or is fundamentally unworthy of taking up space. To understand this, we need to look at the framework of the fawn response. Beyond fight-flight or freeze, there is fawn. It is a trauma response, a strategy of appeasement. The child and later the adult learns that the safest path to belonging is to disassemble their own needs, moods, and opinions, to become a mirror reflecting back what others want to see. Your silence is not just not speaking. It is the active, exhausting work of preemptively managing the emotional state of others to ensure your own safety. You silence your disagreement, your excitement, your sadness, because the perceived risk of disruption is catastrophic. Then there is the hypervigilance of the nervous system. This is the neurological bedrock. When a child's emotional expressions are consistently met with dismissal, annoyance, punishment, or neglect, their nervous system wires itself for threat detection. It learns that expression is dangerous. So the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, remains on a low, constant hum. You are perpetually scanning not for physical danger but for social and emotional landmines. This constant scanning is phenomenally draining. It leaves little energy for the very expression it guards against. And finally, consider the phenomenology of the unsaid. This is the lived experience of what is not expressed. For the quiet person, their inner world is a vast, rich landscape, full of analyzed conversations, imagined dialogues, profound reflections, and fierce emotions. But this landscape exists almost entirely in the brain system for self-referential thought. It becomes a feedback loop of internal narration with no external release valve. The thoughts do not move through you. They circulate within you, gaining weight and complexity with every pass. Your mind is not quiet. It is a roaring arena where you are both the gladiator and the crowd. And the silence is merely the soundproofing. Your brain has been neurologically rewired for containment. Expression was not just discouraged. It was made to feel physiologically risky. And what is the price of this containment? It is a specific heavy grief. The grief for the self you could have been. The grief for the connections that were never forged. Because you only ever presented a fraction of yourself. It is the invisible burden. You carry the weight of every unspoken truth. Every stifled laugh that felt too loud. Every tear swallowed because it would require an explanation you felt you did not have the right to demand. Your quietness is often mistaken for peace, for contentment, for having it all figured out. But inside it is a relentless curation, an editing of your soul in real time. The core fear here is not of people, but of the consequences of your own authenticity. It is the terror that if you truly unfurled, if you showed your full intensity, your passion, your need, your anger, your boundless love, you would be met with the same rejection, dismissal, or confusion that you sensed as a child. So you preempt the rejection. You reject yourself first. You become your own gatekeeper. And the gates are permanently locked. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus, born a slave, said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But what happens when your primary reaction is to have no visible reaction at all? You apply a Stoic discipline not to your emotions, but to the very expression of your humanity. You mistake suppression for strength, silence for wisdom, and isolation for independence. This makes simple moments agonizingly complex. A casual question like, "What do you think?" triggers a cascade. What do they want to hear? Is my true opinion acceptable? How will it change their perception of me? Is it worth the energy to explain? Is it safer to just agree? By the time this internal calculus is complete, the moment has passed, and you simply smile and say, "I am not sure," or whatever you think is best. And another piece of you retreats unseen. This childhood strategy crystallizes into adult reality. You become a person who suffers from time lag, authenticity. Your real reactions surface hours, even days, after an event. In the moment you are perfectly composed. Later alone the full emotional response hits, but with no context to discharge it. It turns into rumination or a vague, free-floating anxiety. You attract emotional vampires and narrators. Your quiet listening presence is a magnet for those who love to talk, to drama, to fill space. You become a supporting character in everyone else's story because you never assert the plot of your own. People will confidently tell you who you are because you have not shown them. You have porous boundaries. Saying no feels like a violent act of rebellion. You confuse being needed with being loved. And so you overgive, overperform, and overstay. All in silence, building a quiet resentment that you believe you have no right to voice. You experience creativity as torture. You have immense inner worlds, but bringing anything out feels excruciating. The gap between the perfection of the idea in your head and the imperfection of its execution feels like a moral failure. So projects remain unborn. Art stays in the sketchbook. Songs go unsung. You feel like a ghost in relationships. You can be physically intimate but emotionally translucent. Partners may say, "I just feel like I cannot reach you." You are present but not accounted for. The relationship happens around you, and you observe it, often feeling a deep loneliness within the very connection you craved. And your body screams what the mouth will not. The suppressed energy has to go somewhere. It manifests as chronic muscle tension, autoimmune issues, digestive problems, and profound fatigue. The body keeps the score, and your body is exhausted from holding a continent of unspoken words. These are not personality traits. They are coping strategies. The first non-negotiable step is not to speak more. It is to witness, to stop gaslighting yourself, to sit in the quiet of your own company, and with unbearable compassion simply acknowledge, "This is the pain I carry. This is why I built the fortress. And it has served its purpose. It is also now causing me suffering." You must see the pattern before you can change it. You must meet your own silence, not with judgment, but with the curiosity of an archaeologist, uncovering a lost civilization, your own. Healing, then, is not about becoming loud. It is about becoming authentically resonant. It is about changing the relationship with your own voice. It begins with micro-expressions. It is not about giving a TED Talk tomorrow. It is about, in a safe moment, saying, "I actually prefer this option." or that hurt my feelings, or simply no thank you. It is about feeling the seismic panic that follows, the ancient alarm system blaring, and breathing through it, learning that the catastrophe does not come. Your nervous system must be retrained. In tiny incremental doses. It continues with inner child reparenting. That quiet child inside you is not gone. They are the source of your sensitivity, your depth of observation, your rich inner world. They are also terrified. You must go back for them.
In your mind's eye, sit with that child.
Tell them you do not have to be quiet to be safe with me. Your thoughts are welcome. Your feelings are important. I can handle your intensity. You become the guardian you needed. It is fortified by shadow work. Your silence has likely confined the parts of you deemed unacceptable. Your anger, your selfishness, your wildness, your power. Healing involves inviting those parts in from the cold, not to act them out recklessly, but to acknowledge their existence and integrate their energy. Your anger holds your boundaries. Your selfishness holds your self-care. Your power holds your ability to shape your life. The goal is integration. To move from a fragmented self, where the quiet observer is at war with the hidden feels, to a whole being. As the psychologist Carl Rogers said, the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. You will not become someone else. You will become a fuller version of you. The observer will remain. That is your gift, your depth. But they will no longer be the warden. They will be the wise witness, now partnered with a voice that can speak, and a body that can feel without fear. Your silence was a masterpiece of adaptation, a profound intelligence. But you are never meant to live in the museum of your own mind. You are meant to let the art breathe, to let the symphony be heard in all its imperfect, glorious noise. The dark truth is that the quietest people suffer a loneliness of their own making, built for ancient survival. The brighter truth is that the key to that loneliness has always been in your hand. It is not about breaking the silence. It is about turning it from a prison into a sacred chosen space, a sanctuary from which your true voice can finally gently begin to speak. You are not meant to be quiet. You are meant to be whole. If this resonated with the quiet part of you that needed to hear it, share this with someone who understands. Subscribe for more journeys into the hidden layers of the psyche. The next step in your healing is just a click
away.